Hi, my name is Oliver Guzman with Chicago Dept Productions. I'm here with Mike Ervin from Dept. And Mike, just what are you doing? What's the protest here about today?
Well, today we're at the office of the Department of Human Services on Clinton Street in Chicago. The reason we're here is because Secretary Jim Demas has his office here, and the department is proposing some very drastic rule changes. It's an obscure thing that a lot of people don't notice, but we will notice it. And in a nutshell, what it is if you are on a program like the Home Services Program, any program administered by DHS, and they try to cut you off or change your hours or do anything negative to you, you have the right to appeal. But under these new rules, they would practically take away that right. It's probably even illegal what they're trying to do. As an example, for now, if they try to cut back on your services, you have 30 days to appeal from the time you receive a letter. They want to change it to give you only 10 days to appeal.
Wasn't that kind of like a hurried thing? Is that what the complaint is about?
Yeah, the complaint is that it's basically an attempt to make it really, really hard to appeal it. They're trying to make it hard to appeal because they know that they can't accomplish the mass dumping of people off services that they want to do if people have the right to appeal. So we're here to tell them to back off, to give people their due process, don't take it away, and because due process is part of what we deserve.
So this is one of our round of budgets, budget cuts.
Just another sneak attack by a sneaky governor.
There you go. This is the ongoing battle that the people with disabilities have with Governor Rauner's budget cuts. Now they're making it more difficult for an appeal. They're requesting a 10-day appeal, where 30 days would give them more time to get their arguments ready and set to make the appeal. So what they're trying to do is shorten the time to make it more difficult for people with disabilities to voice concern, which I think is really wrong. And these people really need, the people with disabilities really need a more streamlined, they need more time to get their appeals going. That's what you're trying to say.
Absolutely. It's one of many changes they want to make, and it's all part of a big plan to dump a lot of people off with human services.
Please call the governor and let them know that this cannot happen. The people with disabilities need to have more time for their appeals. Thank you very much.
We want Demas. 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 We want Demas.
So this is the Dept right here. They're doing the protest. Obviously, Demas was the head of the Department of Rehabilitative Services, not here to meet with them. The whole issue here, once again, is because they have increased appeal time from 30 days, decreased appeal time from 30 days to 10 days, which is not enough for them to really issue their concerns. So Dept is here trying to get a meeting with Demas, and obviously he's not here, probably does not want to show up, for all we understand. They made it this is a very critical issue because the appeal time has been decreased from 30 to 10, which is not enough time for these people to really issue their concerns. Oliver Guzman with Dept Chicago Productions.
Whose state? Our state. Who serves our service? Who serves our service? Who pays? We pay. 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 Who pays? We pay.
We've been asked to leave, so we have to sign off for right now. We can't have the camera in here, and it's a really critical issue. Please call us and please call us. No, it's okay. I'm gonna go. Thank you.
Whose state? Our state. We want Demas.
Well, members of Dept were met with Veronica Vera, one of Demas's staff. they're not very happy about it, but Kathy Powers read them a list of complaints about the rule changes, and Veronica Vera so far has stated that each one of them that have written complaint concerning the rules changes of the appeal process will all get an answer, to which Kathy Powers stated, what? Oh, hopefully before Thanksgiving? I mean, they really want an answer because they really want to get this issue settled. I mean, that's so long. It's a short process when they take it from 30 days to 10 days to make an appeal. So Demas, one of Demas staff members, obviously came down to meet with the protesters. Her name was Veronica. Her name is Veronica Vera, and they really wanted to speak with Demas. So anyways, that's it. Oliver Guzman, Chicago Dept Productions, signing off. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Tom Wilson. I'm a member of Chicago Adapt, and I'm here today to give you an update on the action that Chicago Adapt did at the Department of Human Services. As you may have heard, the Department of Human Services wants to make it harder for people to appeal cuts and other changes in their service. This is not acceptable to people who rely on their services to get up in the morning, people who rely on their services to take care of their human needs. So we did a protest, and I can also report that advocacy works. We got a meeting with the new Secretary of the Department of Human Service, Mr. Demas, within a week. We sat down with him. And when we talked about the rules change, it's interesting. He acted as if there was no problem and that they didn't understand why anyone would be concerned about shortening the appeals time, for example. Well, we told him, you know, the Chicago mail system doesn't even get people's mail to them in 2 weeks sometimes. But did he seem to care? No, not a lick. Now, not only did we find that this attitude, but later, about a week and a half later, the director of advocacy at Access Living, Amber Smock, and the director of the agency, Mark Bristow, had a meeting with this new director, and he repeated the same message as if he didn't know what was going on. So he's quite tone deaf, kind of played like this couldn't possibly be a problem. And yet the Legal Assistance Foundation, Prairie State's Legal Assistance, and all of the other legal advocates say that there's a lot of changes here that are detrimental to the interests of the consumer. And we should be putting the needs of the consumer first. Thank you.
Welcome to Adapt Productions. We're shooting on location today at Access Living. My name is Gary Arnold, Public Affairs Manager at Access Living. And joining me today, I have Laura Donaldson, a housing advocate for people with disabilities. How are you doing today, Laura?
A little nervous, but good.
All right. Well, we'll do our best to make this easy and clean. You know, for years, ever since I've been in Chicago and been working as part of the disability community, an issue we've been working on is housing. It seems like the most critical need in Chicago and maybe around the country for people with disabilities is the need for more housing that's affordable, that's accessible, and that's not segregated. That's in integrated neighborhoods. And in Chicago, you know, this affects, you know, many thousands of people. How does it affect you? What's your housing situation?
Well, currently I'm living in a shelter, and I've been there for a year and a half. But before that, I had my own place, but because of the rents and how expensive they are, I've been going back and forth from family to my own and currently the shelter.
So how long have you been in a shelter now?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. And what are you doing? Are you, I know the Chicago Housing Authority has subsidized housing. Are you on the Chicago Housing Authority waiting list? Are you trying to find housing that way?
Yes, I've also been looking on my own. With the income restrictions or requirements that they have, it's not as easy as people think.
When you say that they have, does that mean housing providers or the Chicago Housing Authority?
You know, the different rental companies and so on and so forth, whatever entities that you go through.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's it like as a person with disability? In your search for housing, you say it's been a year and a half. Is that what you said? What does the day-to-day look like in terms of trying to find housing?
It depends on how you find the sources. Sometimes you have a posting, you call them and see how much it is if it's not listed in an article or paper. Then you try to set up a in-person interview, and the first thing you have to ask 9 times out of 10 is it accessible?
Right.
And with that, you wait for the inevitable question or questions, and you kind of try to get a feel of whether or not they are trying to blow you off then. So you kind of have to think 4 or 5 steps ahead before they even ask the questions.
Right.
So you can not sound pissed off, but still get an interview
Right. Yeah.
or attempt to get one.
An estimate, in this year and a half or so that you've been searching for housing, how many housing providers, landlords, agencies have you reached out to in search of housing?
I stopped counting after 5 or 10
Okay.
because it's kind of frustrating to know that you've tried this one, you've tried that one, you've tried that one.
Yeah.
So you don't count after a certain amount. You just
Yeah.
keep doing.
Yeah.
Because if you concentrate on the ones you haven't been successful with, you kind of get frustrated with the ones you're trying to deal with
Right.
in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you're working, as an individual, going out and trying to find housing for yourself, but also while there's kind of the one-on-one approach, individuals looking for housing, there are also efforts to make systemic or community change in order to open up the supply of housing that's affordable and accessible in Chicago. And I understand you're involved in those group advocacy efforts also. Tell me a little bit about those efforts.
Well, we recently did a sleep out in front of City Hall.
When you say we, who is we?
DRAC, I'm sorry.
DRAC. That's the Disability Rights Action Coalition for Housing, which is a community organizing group for housing at Access Living. So, all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you recently do?
Sleep out in front of City Hall. Very new for me. Not what I expected, but I think the fact that we did it before the city budget was supposed to be done the next day was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I just wish that we would get more attention from the people that we need the attention from and start having to do so many things to be visible.
Right. So 2 questions. One, why City Hall? Why was that your target? What message were you trying to get across?
I think it was mainly to get the mayor's attention.
Okay. And what do you want the mayor to do?
Stop sitting on the ordinance, the
Oh.
keeping the promise ordinance,
Oh, okay.
to actually pass it. Stop saying that there's no need for it.
Yeah. What? Can you explain a little bit about the Keeping the Promise ordinance?
It would be an oversight committee for the city council, first of all, would be the oversight committee for the CHA to make sure that they use the money that's allocated for housing and not other things.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Yeah, because so you're trying to get I was going to say the governor, the mayor, to take more responsibility and to move the Chicago Housing Authority to take action, right?
Yes.
And kind of move and take more initiative around affordable housing. Yes. So from what I understand, the Chicago Housing Authority has this, while we're talking about city deficits and state deficits in terms of the budget, the Chicago Housing Authority has this surplus of over $430 million, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and so what DRAC and others are trying to do is kind of pressure the city and pressure the CHA to take advantage of that money and open up more units that are affordable and accessible. Yeah. And to demonstrate the need for this, it's estimated that about 40% of the people currently living in Chicago Housing Authority housing units are people with disabilities. And from that, we can kind of estimate that of all the people on the waiting list, which is about 40,000 right now, and it's only, it's capped at 40,000, but it could be much larger if you go by the number of people that signed up for the lottery. But we can estimate that about 40% of people on that waiting list are also people with disabilities. And Laura here is one representative of the many thousands of people who are waiting for that housing. So let's go back to the action. Did you stay overnight? Was it the whole night you stayed there? Yeah. And what kind of reaction did you get from the public coming by, or do you think the message got through to the council members and to the mayor?
I think we mostly got strange looks, and no one inquired of me particularly, but we just kept getting looks, and I think they were more curious but didn't want to inquire.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that curiosity will stimulate some of them to start asking questions, start looking into this. So I think we've just got about a minute left or so, a little less. Any final thoughts you'd like to add?
No, I just want them to stop playing around and get off their butt and do something. I'm tired of looking for housing. I have things I want to do.
Right.
I can't do them living in a shelter. Right. It's hard enough being a person with a disability in a shelter.
Right.
I want to go back to school, get my degree, and start working.
Right.
I'm tired.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Laura. You really demonstrate all of us need housing, and without housing, as you said, it kind of limits us for the other things that we can do. So thank you very much for sharing your story. This is Gary Arnold with Adapt Productions. Thanks for joining us today.